You're sitting in your own space, maybe with a cup of tea going cold on the table, and it hits you. This is your life now, just you, and the question is, are you actually set up to live it well? Because here's what nobody tells you about living alone after 70. It's not just about managing. It's about building something that holds you up on the hard days and still leaves room for the good ones. And that takes more than luck. It takes the right systems, the right habits, and honestly, a little bit of nerve. So today we're going through 10 things you genuinely cannot afford to skip when you're living solo in this chapter. Not vague advice, not the usual drink more water nonsense. Real, practical, life-sustaining stuff that makes the difference between just getting by and actually thriving. Let's start with the one most people don't think about until something goes wrong. A daily signal system that someone actually monitors. When you live alone past 70, having at least one person who expects to hear from you every single day is not optional. It's your safety net, and it needs to exist before you ever need it. This doesn't mean daily phone calls or checking in with a laundry list of updates. It means a simple, consistent rhythm. One text, one wave out the window. One notification that says, "I'm here, everything's fine." And someone on the other end who knows what to do if that signal doesn't come. Think about what happens if you fall early in the morning before you've even had breakfast. If nobody expects to hear from you until the afternoon, that's hours of time you simply cannot afford to lose. Set something up that's easy enough to do every single day without fail. Some people use a quick emoji text, others flip a light on by 7 in the morning, some post one line on social media. The method matters far less than the consistency. Pick one thing you'll actually do, and then find at least one person who commits to following up if it doesn't happen. And that person needs clear instructions. If I don't text by 9, call me. If I don't pick up by 10, come by. Write it out, make it official, treat it like the safety system it is. Because that's exactly what it is. The moment you get that arrangement in place, something shifts. You'll notice it. That low-level background worry about being unreachable quietly fades, and you can move through your days with a little more ease. 2. Now let's talk about your brain, specifically about working with it rather than fighting it. Here's something that doesn't get said enough. Memory changes after 70 are not a personal failure. They're a shift in how your mind handles information. Things that used to just stick now need a little help sticking, and when you live alone, there's no one else in the house to catch what slips through. That's why you need what I call a paper trail for your own mind. A consistent, honest system for writing down the things that matter before they disappear. We're not talking about a journal where you write beautiful reflections. We're talking about a working document. What medications you took and when. What bills are due. What appointments are coming. Who you called and what was decided. What you still need to follow up on. Some people keep a binder with labeled sections. Some use a whiteboard in the kitchen. Some speak into a voice memo on their phone. The format is yours to choose. What matters is that you use it every day without exception, and that it covers the practical, unglamorous, necessary details of your life. Because when you live alone, you are the only person responsible for knowing what's going on. There's no partner to say you already took that pill. There's no roommate to notice you paid that bill twice. You're the whole operation, and the paper trail is your backup system. It also brings peace of mind that's hard to put a number on. When you're not spending mental energy trying to remember if you turned the stove off or when the eye appointment is, you free up space for the things you actually want to think about. And honestly, anyone who gives you a hard time for writing everything down has clearly never run their own life solo. This isn't a weakness, it's smart management. 3. Here's one that might catch you off guard. You need a small pot of money that exists for no reason other than your own enjoyment. After a lifetime of being financially responsible, of saving and planning and making sure everyone else's needs were covered, it can feel strange to earmark money just for yourself. But it's not strange. It's necessary. When you're living alone, the tendency is to slip into maintenance mode. Pay the bills, manage the health stuff, keep the house running, repeat. That cycle can take over completely if you let it. And before you know it, you're not living anymore. You're just maintaining. A dedicated personal fund, even a modest one, is what breaks that cycle. It's the thing that reminds you this is still your life and you're still allowed to enjoy it. Call it whatever you want. A fun fund, a joy account, a just because I'm still here budget. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that the money is genuinely yours, with no guilt attached and no obligation to justify it to anyone. Maybe it goes toward a weekend trip somewhere you've been meaning to go. Maybe it pays for a class in something you've always been curious about. Maybe it buys the really good coffee or the nicer version of something you've been settling on the cheap version of for years. The amount doesn't have to be large. What matters is that it exists and that you actually use it. Because every time you do, you're sending yourself a message. You're saying your enjoyment counts, your pleasure counts. You are not just here to survive this chapter, you are here to live it. And if anyone questions your spending, you don't owe them an explanation. You've put in the years. You get to decide what your money does now. 4. Let's talk about something that makes most people uncomfortable, but that every person living alone genuinely needs. A document that takes care of the what-if moments before they happen. When you're the only person in your household, you are also the only person who holds all the crucial information about your own life. Your medications and doses, your allergies, your doctor's name and number, your insurance information, who to contact if something happens, what your wishes are if you can't speak for yourself, if you end up in an ambulance or an emergency room and you're not able to answer questions, whoever is trying to help you is working blind. And that's not a situation you want to leave to chance. What you need is a clarity folder. A single, clearly labeled document or physical folder that contains everything a stranger would need to take care of you properly in a crisis. Keep it somewhere obvious. Tell at least 1 or 2 people where it is. Inside, it should have a current list of all your medications, a list of any known allergies or conditions, the names and numbers of your primary doctor and at least 1 emergency contact, copies of any relevant legal or medical documents, and basic identification. That's the minimum. If you want to go further, add a note about your preferences. What hospital you prefer if there's a choice. Whether there are specific treatments you do or don't want. Any information that would help someone make good decisions on your behalf. This isn't morbid preparation. This is the most caring thing you can do for yourself and for the people who would show up for you in a crisis. It takes the guesswork out of a situation that's already hard enough. And the relief you feel after it's done is genuine. You'll wonder why you waited. 5. Now this one. No one should skip this. A one-touch system that gets you help without having to do much of anything. When you live alone, a fall or a health event can happen with 0 warning and 0 convenience. It doesn't wait for you to be near your phone. It doesn't wait for a good moment. And if it happens when you're already on the floor or disoriented or unable to move, the ability to reach help in 1 motion or 1 word could be the difference between a manageable situation and a tragedy. The old models of medical alert devices were clunky and easy to be self-conscious about. That's not the case anymore. Today there are smartwatches that look like any other watch and detect falls automatically. There are voice-activated systems that will call for help if you simply say a phrase out loud. There are pendants, wristbands, and clips. Whatever you choose, it has to pass 1 test. Can you activate it when you are frightened, in pain, half asleep, or lying on the floor? If yes, it's the right choice. If not, keep looking. The emotional shift that comes from having this in place is significant. There's a specific kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing that even in the worst moment, you're not completely on your own. That 1 signal, 1 button, 1 word away from help being on the way. Set it up, learn it. Wear it or keep it close. Don't leave it sitting on the nightstand every day because it felt uncomfortable. The slightly inconvenient option that you actually use every day is infinitely better than the perfect device sitting unused in a drawer. 6. All right, let's go inside your kitchen for a minute, because this space deserves a serious rethink. After 70, the kitchen stops being neutral territory. It either works with you or it works against you. And a kitchen that works against you is not just annoying, it's a hazard. Heavy pots that strain your wrists, items stored too high or too low, dull blades that require extra force, cluttered counters that slow you down and create opportunities for accidents. The goal is to redesign your kitchen around the way you actually live now. Not the way you cooked for a family of 5. Not the way you'd cook if you had unlimited energy and two working hands. The way you cook today. Start with what you use daily and put it all at arm level. Nothing you reach for regularly should require crouching or stretching. Move things around until everything essential is genuinely easy to access, and let the rarely used items live somewhere inconvenient. That's what they deserve. Think about tools that reduce the effort required. An electric can opener, a lightweight pan with a comfortable grip, a jar opener that doesn't depend entirely on hand strength, a cutting board with a lip that holds it steady. These aren't luxury items. They're practical investments in your safety and your energy. Consider a high stool at the counter so you can sit while you prep food. Consider a small setup with a few versatile appliances that handle most of what you actually make. You don't need every gadget you've accumulated over the decades. You need the right few that work well. And think about lighting. A kitchen where you can't clearly see what you're cutting or pouring is a kitchen that's waiting to cause a problem. If your lighting is dim or awkward, fix it before anything else. Cooking for yourself should feel good. It should feel manageable and even satisfying. If it currently feels like a challenge you have to psych yourself up for, your kitchen needs a redesign, not more willpower from you. 7. Let's talk about your body, specifically about being willing to be honest with it. After 70, your body communicates differently than it did. It sends signals that are easier to explain away or push through, or just quietly ignore. And when you live alone, there's no one watching you well enough to notice what you're not saying. So the job of paying attention falls entirely to you. That means you cannot afford to be dismissive. You cannot keep saying it's probably nothing, or I'll wait and see how it goes when something has been bothering you for 2 weeks. You have to be the person who takes those signals seriously because there's no one else in the room doing it for you. This is not about becoming anxious or hypervigilant. It's about having an honest, clear-eyed relationship with your own health. When something changes, you notice. When something persists, you mention it. When something worries you, you say so out loud to a professional instead of hoping it resolves on its own. That includes the things that feel embarrassing to bring up. Bring them up anyway. Your doctor has heard it before and then some. What they haven't heard is your specific version of it, which is the version that matters. And equally important, don't let anyone in a clinical setting talk over you or past you. You are the foremost expert on how your body feels. You have decades of data. If something seems off to you, it deserves to be taken seriously, and if it isn't, say so again. Taking care of your body is not about vanity or achieving some ideal. It's about staying mobile, staying clear, staying in your own life as fully as possible. That's worth being honest for. 8. This next one might sound small, but it carries more weight than almost anything else on this list. A daily ritual that belongs entirely to you. Not a schedule, not a task, a ritual. Something you do at the same time in the same way because it grounds you and signals to your nervous system that you are here, you are present, and this day is yours. Living alone can blur the edges of time. Days start to feel alike, the week loses its shape, and without anyone else in the house setting a rhythm, it's easy to drift. That drifting is subtle at first, but it accumulates. It can leave you feeling untethered without knowing exactly why. A ritual cuts through that. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be elaborate. It could be 10 minutes on the back step with your first cup of something warm before anything else happens. It could be a specific piece of music you listen to while the light comes up in the morning. It could be writing one sentence in a notebook before bed, just one line about the day. It could be feeding the birds or watering the plants or sitting in a specific chair and doing absolutely nothing for 5 minutes. What makes it a ritual rather than a routine is intention. You're not doing it out of habit or obligation. You're doing it because it anchors you. Because it's a moment that belongs to you before the day makes any demands. And on the days that feel heavy or lonely or foggy, that anchor matters more than you might expect. It's a thread that ties you to yourself and to the continuity of your own life. Build it deliberately, protect it from being crowded out, and let it be exactly what you need it to be. No more and no less. 9. Here's something worth thinking carefully about. A solo hobby that keeps you feeling connected to something beyond your own four walls. We hear a lot about joining groups and getting out there, and yes, that has real value. But there are also days when you simply don't have the energy for people. Days when the effort of showing up and being sociable costs more than you have. And on those days, you still need something that engages you, challenges you a little, and reminds you that you're part of a bigger world. That's what the right solo hobby does. It's not just a way to fill time. It's a way to feel alive and curious and connected to something, even when you're in a room by yourself. The best kind is one that has some element of discovery or growth built in. Something where you can always go deeper, always learn more, always find something new. Genealogy research, watercolor painting, amateur astronomy, learning a new language, writing short stories, building models, growing food from seed, playing an instrument for the first time, or returning to one you set down decades ago. The subject is less important than the engagement. You want something that pulls your focus in a way that feels good. Not like a chore, not like homework, like genuine interest. And something interesting happens with hobbies that have a creative or skill-building component. They give you something to share when you do talk to people. You have updates, you have discoveries, you have a thread of ongoing experience that connects you to conversations and to others who share that interest. Even if no one else is in the room, you are not just passing time. You are building something, learning something, experiencing something. That has real value. Don't underestimate it. 10, and here we are at the last one. The hardest one for a lot of people, and honestly, possibly the most important. The willingness to ask for help before things reach a breaking point. Somewhere along the way, many of us absorbed the idea that self-sufficiency means never needing anyone. That asking for help is a sign that you're slipping. That it burdens people or signals weakness or somehow diminishes everything you've managed on your own. Let me say this plainly. That idea is wrong, and holding onto it will cost you. The people who navigate solo life after 70 with the most dignity and the most joy are not the ones who white-knuckle it alone until something goes wrong. They are the ones who ask early, ask clearly, and ask without shame. They call before the problem becomes a crisis. They reach out before the loneliness becomes overwhelming. They ask for guidance before the confusion turns into a mistake with real consequences. And the people in their lives, their family, friends, neighbors, doctors, those people are grateful for the ask. Not burdened by it, not tired of it. Grateful because it gave them a chance to actually help before things got hard. Here's something worth sitting with. The people who love you cannot read your mind. They don't know you're struggling unless you say so. They don't know you're lonely unless you tell them. They don't know you're confused or tired or overwhelmed because you are very good at carrying yourself with composure. So you have to use words. Ask your neighbor to grab something while they're out. Ask your doctor to explain that again more slowly. Ask your family member to walk you through the confusing technology one more time. Ask a friend to come sit with you, not because there's a problem, but because you'd like the company. None of that is giving up. All of it is how you hold on to your independence longer. Because the alternative, waiting until things collapse and then scrambling in crisis mode, that's what actually strips away your control. You have gotten through decades of this life. You have handled things that would have broken a lot of people. You are not fragile, and asking for help is not a contradiction of that. It is the intelligent, experienced thing to do. It is how people who truly know themselves actually operate. So be that person. Not the one who suffers in silence and hopes for the best. The one who speaks up, reaches out, and lets people show up for them before it becomes an emergency. Because you've earned every bit of support that comes your way. And using it wisely is its own kind of strength. So there they are, 10 things that are not optional when you're living alone after 70. A daily check-in signal, a written system for your memory, a financial pocket that's purely for your enjoyment, a prepared emergency folder, a one-touch help system, a kitchen designed around your real needs, an honest relationship with your body, an anchoring daily ritual, a solo hobby that keeps you engaged, and the readiness to ask for help before you're desperate for it. None of these require a lot of money. None of them require perfect health or a perfect situation. They require intention and follow-through. And the good news is, you can start on any one of them today. If something in here landed for you, if it made you nod or think of someone you want to share this with, hit the like button. It genuinely helps, And if you want more honest, practical conversations about living well in this chapter of life, subscribe to my channel and stick around. We keep it real here, we keep it useful, and we never waste your time. Take good care of yourself. You've more than earned it.